Hi everyone, Sandra Vale here, Homesteading Ways, and today I'm making muffins, banana strawberry muffins. I happen to be out of eggs, which is a story in and of itself, but I do have powdered eggs, and they're pretty easy to use, and I'm going to show you how. Okay, powdered eggs are pretty easy to use. I've only used two different brands, and this right here is Honeywell Grain brand of whole eggs, and I've used them several times now, and they come out really good in baking. Okay, first thing we're going to do is take 3/4 cup of sugar and mix it with a 1/2 cup of coconut oil. Now the recipe calls for butter, but you can easily substitute coconut oil. It's soft enough too. And all you're going to do to start with is cream it together. Okay, it's all creamed together now, so I'm going to add the liquids. And the first thing I'm going to add is the bananas. Now this is 2 fairly large smashed bananas, and they were pretty ripe, and that's what gave me the idea to make the muffins in the first place. I wanted to make sure to use them up. And when bananas are overripe, that's actually when they're at their most nutritious point. So we're just going to mix that in a little bit. Not a whole lot to look at yet. And then the next liquid we're going to add in is the buttermilk. Now I didn't have buttermilk, so I made my own sour milk. And what you do is you just add a little bit of lemon juice to your milk. And I'll give you the exact measurements in the description. This only needed 1/4 cup. So I had 1/4 cup of milk, and I used like 1/4 teaspoon of lemon juice. You let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and it gives you sour milk, which is very equivalent to buttermilk. Now we're going to add in our vanilla. We're going to have a teaspoon of that. I make my own vanilla, and it's wonderful. This is actually part of a bigger recipe. I cut it in half because I only want 12 muffins. And technically then it should only be 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, but I really like it, so I'm adding the full amount. We're going to mix that in. And then the last thing is the whole eggs, the whole powdered eggs. So I need 2 for the recipe. Actually I only need 1. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of the powder. I'm just going to add it straight in there. You don't have to reconstitute them to a liquid form beforehand. Not when you're baking, at least. A little bit more. And then 4 tablespoons of water. 4 tablespoons of water actually comes out to 1/4 cup. And I have 1/2 cup here, so I'm going to do half of that. And then just mix it all together. With muffins, you don't want to overmix the majority of the time. That can tend to make the texture tough and kind of chewy. But when you're doing the liquid part here, I don't think it really matters. You just want to get it all combined really well. And that it is. Now I'm going to add the dry. I already did this ahead of time, but this is like 1 1/4 cups of flour, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And we're just gonna mix it in a little at a time. You know how that goes. If you do all of it at once, it kind of makes a mess. The flour likes to shoot up on you a little bit. Kind of put a lot in that time, but it's not too much. It's a small amount of flour. And like I said, you don't want to overmix. And that's kind of why I never use a hand mixer or a stand mixer when I'm making muffins. I try to do everything by hand. I try to do everything by hand if possible anyhow whenever I'm baking. save that energy, you know. But occasionally, if there's a lot of stirring involved, I will use a mixer simply because it bothers my hands. Alright, it's already mixed up good, it's combined well, and this is what I'm going to put the strawberries in. I make a really good strawberry bread, but I found out early on that you don't want big chunks of strawberries. You want to cut them into really small pieces, like dicing them up. And this is a cup, which came out to be about 5 large strawberries. So just cut them up, you know, real little pieces, because in that way they distribute better through the muffin. Otherwise they can sink down, and it's not a good thing. So just fold those in real nice. When you fold stuff in, you just kind of gently move it around so that it goes throughout the batter. You don't want to stir it hard at all. You just want to distribute it evenly so that each muffin has at least a few pieces of strawberry in it. This is going to go into a 350 oven with greased muffin pans, and they'll cook for about 20 minutes. Someone was at the door. Anyhow, you're going to put this in a 350 oven for about, I'd say, anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. Start checking them after 10 minutes. They're ready to go. So, I have my muffin tin here. It's greased. I'm going to fill them all up and get them in the oven. Make sure to check the description for the full recipe. Okay, while the muffins are still in the oven, I wanted to explain a little bit about the powdered eggs. Powdered eggs are just as nutritious as fresh eggs. They don't taste nearly as well. I tried cooking these up in a less superior brand, let's say, and yeah, that's not necessarily a good thing. But these are really good for baking, and I've used them several times now. And this big can cost me less than 20 bucks. And it says there's 78 servings, so basically 78 eggs. This can will stay good, sealed for up to 10 years. Once you unseal it, if you store it properly, it'll still be good 2 to 3 years from now. So it's really worth your money if you do a lot of baking. Now, I normally don't use a lot of powdered eggs, but in the winter my chickens lay far less eggs. I don't put supplemental lighting on them, so my supply is a lot lower. But this time of year, right, this happened last year as well. We get these really bad cold snaps, and then the chickens won't lay at all. So I'm really reduced in my egg consumption, fresh at least, and I really don't want to go to the store and buy eggs when I own chickens. So this is when it comes in really handy. And I just wanted to let you know that you can bake with powdered eggs and not worry about it. They come out fine. Okay, they're out of the oven and they're looking pretty good. You could leave them just like that if you wanted to, or you can sprinkle some powdered sugar on them, or maybe make a light glaze. That would be really good. Well, they turned out pretty good, and I'm sure that my family will be happy to have them. But one thing I wanted to mention was that I really underestimated the time they needed to be baked. I don't know where I was thinking this 10-15 minutes, but it actually turned out to be 25 minutes. So I would think you probably want to start checking them shortly before 20 minutes. They're really good muffins, and go ahead and use powdered eggs. Don't worry about them. Your baked goods will turn out fine. Thanks for watching the video. Comment, subscribe. I appreciate it. It'd be great. We'll be talking to you soon, and you take care.